I thought that I loved myself and deeply knew myself. However, I didn't realize that I was abandoning myself in many ways. Most outstandingly was disregarding my intuition. You cannot have genuine self love without listening to, trusting, and following your intuition. Ignoring it is the ultimate form of self abandonment and not respecting yourself. However, it is really imperative to take time to discern between the voice of intuition versus the ego. For so long, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was a chronic overthinker. I think it was around college that I did start recognizing that I had a rumination issue, and I don't know if it really started then or if I was just unaware of it before then. But it definitely at least started in college and has continued ever since. I was fairly isolated in college. I didn't have the typical college experience and it felt fairly lonely. I overinvested myself into work. In college, my second guessing heavily showed up in test taking. During my third or fourth year, I was in office hours with one of my statistics professors. And he said something to the effect of, Julia, like, you knew the answer. You know the answer. You're just overthinking it. You don't trust yourself. I had maybe been told that in schooling once or twice before. And then professionally, I graduated from college. I started my career. And then in every job I held, I was at a company for 5.5 years. I would get feedback from supervisors or managers saying, Julia, like, you know the answers, you have a lot of good ideas, but you don't trust yourself enough to take action, or you're not speaking up to share those ideas. And I did start seeing a pattern after hearing that for like my first two jobs, but I didn't see it as this large problem. Now I'm able to see so clearly and objectively the ripple effect that not trusting yourself has. I speak on this channel a lot about like making a big, for me, it was a career change or a big change in your life, and learning to trust yourself to take action on that. In high school, before deciding what I wanted to pursue for my education in college, I thought about psychology since that and statistics were the classes I was most excited about in high school. I briefly pushed that to the side. Even when I was working in HR and people operations at this tech company that I was at for 5.5 years, I didn't think like, oh, I should have pursued psychology or something like that. My societal and likely some familial conditioning was so strong that I was hyper focused on going up the corporate ladder and going for promotions, even though I had no North Star as to where I wanted to end up. I continually, in the HR related jobs that I was working, after a year or so, would burn out, sometimes from working too much, but also just from doing unaligned work. I thought it was a problem with the job. I thought that finding perhaps a different version of the job would be the answer for me. If I had taken consistent time for stillness and silence and unplugged from the podcasts, from music, constantly consuming from the news, then the answers would have come through more clearly. However, I didn't trust in intuition at that time. Growing up and in college, there were numerous times where people told me that, Julia, you have good intuition, but I didn't fully understand what that meant. I don't think a lot of people do. Intuition is like a personalized GPS for you, indicating the next step or action that you should take with whatever you are faced. It doesn't have to be a significant life decision. As I speak about in my intuition series, which I'll link in the description below, I highly recommend practice using your intuition with smaller decisions first, and then the larger ones. However, I'm getting off track. And if you truly want to love yourself and live a life that you came here to live, that your soul came here to live, then you must get in touch with your intuition. I appreciate you listening to this video, which is a little less structured. If you are curious and interested in reconnecting with your intuition to truly love and get to know yourself, then I do highly recommend you check out my series. And please do subscribe for more on self love and spirituality. And let me know what else you would like to hear from me. Otherwise, I will see you next time.